it is the last day of camp, and so as you guys know, in training camp and during the regular season, after every Bills win, Maddy comes into the show and does the Maddy Awards. So we thought, well, let's do that. You're going to host a show with me today. Training camp's over. Maddy did training camp awards, the Maddy Awards for training camp, 2025 Bills Training Camp Awards. All right, here we go. At Mad Girl, who's the MVP?
I know this is not a shock to anybody, and I love that we have some award show music in the background because I feel like we're already in week 1 with this type of setup. We are mid-season form right now, everybody.
That's right. They got us.
Offensive MVP. It's our quarterback, Josh Allen. You cannot pick anybody but him. Why? It's not like Josh Allen just is going to get this every single year because he comes in and he's our starting quarterback. Allen had to earn it, but he earned it in my eyes. Allen, this offense flows through Josh Allen. Yeah. It's easy to see that. This offense last year was the second best in the NFL, scoring over 30 points per game. With the same offensive coordinator in Joe Brady, it looks like this group is ready to take a step forward. That's thanks to a lot of things going around. It's the offensive line, them returning those 5 starters. You have the same running backs room. You have a lot of the same wide receivers. You've got some new additions that I think are going to level up the play as a whole and fill in some spots that they could have used them last year. In terms of what Josh Allen did to look like an MVP on the field in training camp, it's Allen's touch. It's Allen's understanding of Buffalo's offense. He fits in it so well. It is second nature to him. Allen is an elite artist at ball placement, throwing receivers open. There were times in practices where Allen would step back to release a ball, and it seemed like time slowed down because you're watching the rotations and you're watching it spin perfectly into a playmaker's arms. That's why Allen deserves the MVP award of training camp.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. The whole camp flows through that guy, right? So everybody takes their cue from him. It's his team now. He deserves it, and he handles it extremely well at every level. The leadership, the production, the friendship, and the camaraderie, the chemistry thing, the extra work, the setting the standard for how hard you got to work when you're an MVP. He works hard. How he handles the fans here, just from top to bottom. He's becoming much more than just Buffalo's favorite guy, right? He's starting to get noticed because of Hard Knocks and a lot of that. He's starting to get noticed everywhere for the kind of person he is and obviously for the kind of quarterback he is.
I was wondering if this would be the year that Allen dials it back in terms of autographs and spending time with fans after practice. No. I think he dialed it up a notch. He dialed it up,
yeah.
Spending time with kids, making sure photographs happened, autographs, signing anything. If a kid was upset because they didn't get to talk to Josh Allen would run right back over to them. So it's incredible to watch somebody do what he does on the field and then watch him care about the fans like he does off the field. And then Allen was meticulous about getting on the same page with new receivers Elijah Moore and Joshua Palmer. You would watch him after reps and one-on-ones and team periods go right over to Palmer and have a conversation of, this is what I was expecting here, this is what I need you to do, or this is right on par with what we want. Doing it and repping it over and over again. That's going to pay off in week 1 when they go to Joshua Palmer on a deep ball after he separates for a touchdown. So
it should look like a well-oiled machine by week 1,
yeah.
But they are putting the work in to get there. That Josh is the MVP at training camp, but also the offensive MVP. Who's the defensive MVP?
Defensive MVP, we talked about him earlier. Christian Benford earns defensive MVP because of the way that the cornerback came out and set the standard for the defense in training camp practices. He was flying all over the place in the first 3 practices, and it was consistent throughout the entire 2.5 weeks we were in Rochester at St. John Fisher University. Breaking up passes, lining up with wide receivers, stride for stride, the technique is there. Benford has a makeup that's not like, wow, you have this elite, crazy makeup, you've got these huge muscles. It is the way that he approaches the game. It is his understanding of the defense and his technique that really sets him apart from everybody else. He is the best on Buffalo's defense.
I think one of the reasons you and I and Brownie and a lot of media people are talking so much about Christian Benford is because of the transformation that he's gone through from the time he was here just as a rookie, as a sixth-round guy nobody knew, to this alpha cornerback one in the National Football League. It's startling, the role he plays now, just 2 years after, 3 years now, coming into 3 years after he's drafted. He signed a big contract, and we've seen other players like Ed did this as well, but there are certain guys, and the Bills know who they are because they study their players, right? They get to know them and they understand them. There are certain guys that sign a big deal and kind of take a deep breath and say, I finally made it. And there are other guys who sign the deal and say, I'm going to earn every cent of this. You watch me, kind of guys. That Benford seems to be that kind of guy. He says, "Watch me. I'm going to show you what a bargain I am." They're rare. The Bills have the ability to kind of put their thumb on guys like that and say that this is kind of a guy we want to make sure stays here. They got out in front of the Benford contract and signed him right away, and I thought really smart move. And he has responded to it in a way that you'd love a guy to respond to it. I mean, he's like a different human being.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest things about Benford's transformation, turning into one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, is also the way he's trying to become a better leader.
Right.
This season, Benford has been tasked with being more vocal. Benford is a player that is reserved. He's quiet. He does his own thing. He does it really well. But he said, I'm trying to step outside of my comfort zone to help these young players like first-round draft pick Maxwell Harrison along, as well as other rookie defensive backs on this roster. And you can see it after practice the way that he's coaching guys up. So I think that's a huge nod to his development as well.
Yeah, it really is, and it's good to see. We'll hope he has the kind of year he deserves after putting in all that work and doing absolutely everything the club could ask him to do. Let's see, training camp awards. The rookie, and this is interesting, the rookie MVP, because, Max went down early, so it's always easy just to point to the first-round draft pick, but Max going down kind of opens the field up a little bit.
Yeah. Rookie MVP in my eyes was second-round defensive tackle TJ Sanders. The Bills traded up huge to go get TJ Sanders because of the way he can rush the passer from the interior. That's been evident in training camp all the way back to OTAs. This was somebody who, yes, the pads weren't on, but he's flying through the offensive line to go bat a ball down. That showed up once the pads came on at St. John Fisher University. He's been all over the place. It seems like Sanders is a seamless fit in this defense. Yes, this defense is a lot for rookies, and they put a lot on them because they want them to learn and grow quite a bit in their first year. Second year, the light comes on, but it looks like in ways the light is already coming on for TJ Sanders just a couple months into being a Buffalo Bill. I think he showed up consistently and often in terms of defensive linemen who are pressuring and sacking the quarterback. He's got this personality that is so fun to be around. It's very similar to Ed Oliver, dancing, singing on the sidelines. So I think he feels like he's in a good place in Buffalo's defense. I can't wait to see how he grows throughout the season and how they use them too, because this is a defensive line that likes to rotate guys in and out. Where is TJ Sanders going to be in the rotation, and how do we see the elite athleticism, the basketball physicality that he offers show up in football?
It's interesting, too, because we've talked a lot about this in this offseason, about how many assets the Bills have thrown at this D-line trying to get a really good pass rush. They went out and they signed Von Miller, and it seemed like the right answer until Von's knee went, or halfway through his first year here.
It's so good.
So they've signed another free agent in Joey Bosa, same kind of thing. And hopefully it'll be the flip side. Vaughn came in, really never missed much time with an injury, came in and got hurt. You'd think Bosa, who's missed a lot of time, will come in and stay healthy, Flip it around. But they've thrown a lot of assets. Draft picks, Rousseau, Epinesa, Ed Oliver, Landon Jackson now, TJ Sanders now. A ton of draft picks have been thrown at the D-line as well. And now, in this last offseason, another asset was thrown at this D-line in coaches. They got a new coach, Nielsen. So they are doing everything they can to up the level of production they get there. Now, they've got a deep pool of guys to work with, and they've got some guys with some chops in the NFL, like Rousseau and Bosa, Epinesa, and guys who have done it at this level, and guys you think have potential. Deion Walker, T.J. Sanders, Javon Solomon.
Yeah.
They've got some guys who've got some upside. So, yeah, it is interesting that T.J. Sanders comes in and has a nice thing because they got him. You're right, Maddy. They need him to rush the passer from the D tackle spot. They're trying to get somebody in the quarterback's lap fast every play, and they've struggled to do that. They have struggled to do that. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yep. Josh Allen, to that point, said something interesting in his press conference today. He said the way the defense is playing right now in training camp, I think they're going to make life hard for opposing offenses the way they've been able to rush the quarterback. So that, in my mind, ding, 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 maybe they have what they need in this defensive line, and we could see a big jump forward from ranking 18th in terms of sacks to becoming top 10 and really finishing those plays.
If that happens, that they're not only going to be higher ranked defense overall, they're going to be a pass rush that's going to help the offense win games. All right, most consistent offensive player, who's that going to be?
I'm giving it to a unit. If Josh Allen was the offensive MVP, it's also because of the guys surrounding him. The offensive line deserves most consistent award on offense. Spencer Brown did miss a beginning portion of training camp practices. He's back in the fold now. When you have those five together, it just seems so easy. They talk to each other without talking. It's in their body language. It's how they operate. Connor McGovern is in his second season now being Josh Allen's center. McGovern talked about how Allen is giving him and the offensive line more responsibilities to kind of read things at the line of scrimmage, so it helps Allen really just be able to react and play, not having to ID every single thing before the play happens. So I thought that was a step forward for the group as a whole, but they're just such a strong unit. They allowed 14 sacks last year, the least in the NFL, and they want to do better than that this year.
It's interesting. We had Cybo on the show, and you were talking to him before and after the interview that we showed you, and he said a little bit of it during the interview. Those guys talk without talking. You said it. They speak without speaking. They communicate without verbalizing.
Yeah, it's like a head nod.
It's head nod. It's a hand motion. It's a one-word, very succinct communication. And Cybo said, I've heard this conversation about these plays for 3 straight years with these guys, same voices, right? Mitch Morse was there for his first year, but now it's been Connor McGovern, and here we go. And McGovern was just on
stepped in, was fine.
McGovern was on the other side. He was at the guard anyway, so he could hear him speaking anyway when he was a rookie. So I think it's been a gift for this offense, and it's a happenstance. Nobody twisted an ankle. Spencer Brown missed one game last year, and who knows how it's going to turn out this year. But they continue to be just foundational to how good this offense was off the charts last year, and they are foundational in that, and they continue to be right there.
Yeah. Most consistent on defense, I'm giving it to defensive tackle Ed Oliver, who's now in his 7th year as a pro. Oliver is somebody who 2 seasons ago, 9.5 sacks, had such a productive season. Last year, the sack numbers weren't there, but he was still a big part of the defensive line. This offseason, I've seen him consistently show up in terms of rushing the passer, getting there for pressures and sacks on Josh Allen and Mitchell Trubisky. He does it in his get-off. He does it in his athletic body type that isn't one of the biggest defensive tackles, but he does it in his technique and his pass rush moves from the inside. Sean McDermott had an incredible quote about Ed Oliver today. I asked him, what have you seen out of this veteran on your team? And he said, I get emotional thinking about Ed Oliver. He's been on my mind this training camp because of the way he's matured and grown. McDermott said, usually I'm telling Ed Oliver, get away from Josh Allen. You're getting way too close to him during practices. And even saying, I've had to kick him out of training camp practices before for touching the quarterback when he shouldn't, and he knows he shouldn't. McDermott said this year, Ed Oliver hasn't done any of that, and I've seen him take a step forward and get even better. This guy has turned into a veteran and a leader for the defensive line.
Yeah, you think about this, 7 years. This is going to be 7th year. It's a good career, particularly in this day and age on one team. And Ed Oliver's been a fixture on this D-line that entire time, and certainly that's kind of a nod towards his consistency as well. All right, most exciting offensive newcomer.
I'm most excited about wide receiver Joshua Palmer because when he was signed in March, you heard these rave reviews from Josh Allen and offensive coordinator Joe Brady about his ability to separate. We saw him do that on the Chargers for multiple seasons. And you're wondering, what does this offense need to take a step forward? Having a wide receiver who can consistently separate and be that deep ball threat, I think will help this offense as a whole. That's shown up in training camp. Right. He's been able to separate from defensive backs. You see Josh Allen and Palmer working together after reps, after different plays to make sure they're on the same page. I think he's going to add a new wrinkle to this offense that defenses aren't ready for because they haven't seen it on tape yet.
All right, who's the most exciting defensive newcomer?
Most exciting defensive newcomer. We didn't see a lot out of defensive end Joey Bosa in OTAs because he was out with that calf injury. Back and healthy for training camp. We saw flashes of that Joey Bosa on the Chargers, who had 72 sacks in 107 games. That is crazy amount of productiveness from a defensive lineman. He blew through a couple times on the offensive line. His specialty is using his arms. That's what he uses to get through the offensive line, to get to the quarterback, and you saw that on occasional plays. It's tough to judge a defensive lineman in training camp because they have to stay away from the quarterback, but I'm really excited to see what Joey Bosa, a healthy Joey Bosa, can do.
Who's the biggest surprise in training camp?
Biggest surprise, cornerback Tre'Davious White.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say it was a surprise because we don't know what Trey White can do, but after that ACL injury in 2021, the Achilles injury in 2023, he leaves the team last season not really feeling like he was fully back to himself, goes to the Ravens and the Rams last year and consistently gets better, comes back to Buffalo. That Trey White smile that we all know and love, that personality is back. And he's been very honest about, I'm where I want to be, I'm at home, and because of that, I'm playing my best football. I feel like I'm in a spot where I'm very healthy. You can see that on the field. Trey White has been breaking up pass after pass.
He's been playing really well.
He understands this defense. It was like, just walking right back into it. I'm back in the defense I was in for 7 years that I had 6 interceptions in 2019. I can't wait to see it come week 1 because without Maxwell Hairston in the fold, he's week to week right now. There's a cornerback battle going on between Hairston and White, but without Hairston, White has the advantage right now in being the week 1 starter.
All right, last one before we take a break here. Bill's most improved. Most improved Buffalo Bill.
I'm giving it to a player on defense, a younger player, second-year defensive end, Javon Solomon. This was somebody who the Bills drafted in the 5th round of last year's draft. He had crazy sack numbers coming out of Troy, 16 sacks in his final season. You are wondering, how is that going to show up at an NFL level? Well, year 1 for Javon Solomon was kind of learning the defense, and you could see that when he was out on the field, you're thinking about it, and you didn't see that burst, that get off from him that he had at Troy, which allowed him to get 16 sacks. Now, you talk to teammates, you talk to defensive coordinator Bobby Babich, they say Javon Solomon is so much more confident in his second season. It looks like a weight was lifted off of his shoulders in the way he gets out there and the way he can rush the passer. He's been getting through the offensive line for sacks and pressures. Solomon had a sack today and was dancing right after the sack, having a good time. You just get the vibe that this guy is in a really good place in his second year, and that's going to do a lot for the rotation that he has on the defensive line.
Those are the Maddy Awards. Good stuff, Maddy. First one of the season. Hopefully we'll get 17 or 20 more of those. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Do it every week.
17,
After
20,
every Bills
every
win, Maddy's
week.
going to come back and give us the Maddy Awards, and had a ton of them last year, so we'll see if
did.
we can get there this year.